grocery money. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Mariane. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I use zero-based budgeting to figure out where our money needs to go rather than wondering where it went. Let's get started. First, let me show you what zero-based budgeting is all about. So in its simplest form, a zero-based budget is income minus expenses equals 0. Now, if you are in a different country, of course, just change the currency to your currency. So if we look at income minus expenses, you can easily think that, do I have to spend every dollar until it gets down to 0? No. What it means is that every dollar that comes in, so income can include your earned income, so the pay from the job that you're at. It can include money from your side hustle. If you're selling anything, either on eBay or Marketplace, child support, spousal support, any government assistance, or any other money that comes in. So all of this, you need to try and figure out where it needs to go. Now, what does expenses mean? So, expenses does not mean that it's all the money that you spend. So expenses can include your bills. It includes any money you put into your cash envelopes, any money you put into your sinking funds, any money you put into your debt or towards your debt, money towards your savings, and any other money that you want to use to spend on fun stuff. If you want to go and buy Frappuccino at Starbucks, put some money aside for that. If you want to go and buy a new planner and you don't have the money in one go, you can save up for planners or any other stationery goodies that you love. So technically, the expenses isn't just all the money you're spending. It's money you're putting away, you're putting towards debt, or putting money aside to save up for a bigger item. Now, if we look at it this way, income minus expenses now is all the money coming in and then all the money that you're putting towards all these items. So 0 means that no money is unaccounted for. So every dollar needs to have a name, a job, or a purpose. So income or inflow, so really money coming in, needs to have a purpose. Now, if you have this money left over and you don't know what to do with it, you have to figure out where you need to put that. Do you want to put it towards your debt so then you can pay your debts a lot quicker? Do you want to put it towards a savings so then that way you can achieve the amount that you've set for yourself as a goal and move on to the next goal? Or are you going to go treat yourself and buy something new? So every dollar needs to have a name, a job, or a purpose. Now, if you know exactly where all your money needs to go before it comes in, then there won't be any leaks in your budget. That means you're not going to go at the end of the month or at the end of a pay cycle and go, hang on, we had this amount come in and I know this much went to that, this much went to that, and this much went to that. Where did the rest go? So it's very important, name it before it comes in so then you don't spend it willy-nilly and then suddenly go, oh, where did all our money go? So how do we figure out where we need to put our money? This is where a zero-based budget planner insert. I've made one for myself, so you can write down all the money that needs to come in, all the bills and expenses that you have for whether it's for the week, for the fortnight, 2 weeks, or for the month. Any money you're going to put towards your cash envelopes, money towards your sinking funds, money towards any debt or savings goals you have. And then here we have the little equation. So total income minus your total bills minus your total cash envelopes minus your total sinking funds minus your total debt payment or savings should equal 0. Now if it doesn't, if you're over, then you can put that money towards any other extra goals or towards the first line item on your debt, snowball or avalanche. However, if it's negative, then you have to try and figure out where can you find that money in order to be able to pay your bills. So there's two sides to the equation. You can either increase income by either selling something, going on overtime, or you can decrease some of your expenses. Maybe take $10 to $20 off a category, or maybe this week or this paycheck you might omit paying that. So really then your balancing depends on your priorities. So I'm going to show you a mock budget. So let me just fill this out. Now today I'm going to use a Filofax erasable pen. So it is the Clipbook Filofax erasable pen. It's a twist pen, and this tip here is the thing that will erase any mistakes. And it's great for budgeting because then you can amend any of your figures if you need to move some money around. Clipbook Filofax, I'm a Filofax ambassador, so this was gifted to me to use and share with you my experience. So I like using erasable pen when it comes to my budgeting because then I can just erase any figures that's not correct. So for this mock budget, I'm going to say it's March, and we get paid bi-weekly, so there's 2 paychecks in the month. So I'm going to say it's paycheck number 2, and the date that the money will come in is on the 16th of March plus 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, the 21st of March. So for us, we get hubby's pay on the 16th, and then we get a family tax benefit payment on the 21st. So let's call the first one income number 1. So we're budgeting that at that amount. And then inflow, let's say number 2, and we're budgeting it at that amount. So we add those two figures together and we will come up with the total. Now, if you have other inflows or money coming in, you will write what they are and what you think will be. Now, if you have money coming in that's different every time, just put the number that's the lowest or the average. So then that way, if by any chance the pay is a lot lower than what you would normally get, then you're budgeting for that amount rather than over budgeting. You get less and then suddenly you don't have enough money to pay all your bills, cash envelopes, sinking funds, and debt and savings. All right, so next you're going to have all your bills or expenses. Now for us, our bills and expenses are 4 walls, which is our food, utilities, rent, transport, and clothing. I put it in different categories. So you put in the categories that make sense to you. So some people might put their food category under cash envelopes because they use actual cash when they go grocery shopping. For us, we use our debit expense. So let's say food here, and our budget is this much. Then our rent is this much. Now for us, I will have homeschool. I homeschool my son. So you can name these expenses or bills, whatever it is in your household. I give myself or the household some petty cash, so really, which is our cushion. And then my husband gets an allowance. So then that way I get an allowance. That way we both have some money in our own debit account. It's not a lot, really, for us. It's only $25 each. So I add up the total of my bills and expenses, and it's this much. And then cash envelopes. So if you watched my YouTube videos, you would have seen the categories that I put for my cash envelopes: boys haircuts, boys clothes, transport, so that's where our transport expense comes in, Opal card, my son's money that we give him for his chores, we call it his commission, my health and beauty, my husband envelope, and we add up all of that. Now for us, our utilities go under our sinking funds because we get billed every quarter. So I just put some money every pay cycle. So then that way when the bill comes in, we have enough money to pay the bill. So we have electricity. That's how much we will put in. Gas, that's how much. Optus, which is our internet and mobile phone, that's how much I'll put in. Then I have household, so we are saving up some money or putting some money aside for a new washing machine. It's still functioning, so we're still using it, but when it does break down, we can have the money to replace it. Medical, so here in Australia we have Medicare, so we pay I think $75 to $95 as a bulk bill, and then we'll get a rebate back. So I like to have some money set aside, so then if we do have to visit the doctor, we need to buy some medicine, we've got some money in a sinking fund that we can use, and we don't have to cash flow or not have money, because you cannot predict or schedule when you're sick and you need to visit the doctor. So that's the total for that. Now savings, we have, what do we have for savings? Christmas, so Christmas 2022, so that's that much. We have special occasions. So what I've done is I've figured out everybody's birthday, how much money I'm going to give to each person, and then how many pay cycles until that occasion. So we always have enough money in a special occasions fund, which is a debit account. So when the time comes, it's someone's birthday, we buy a gift, or it's Valentine's, or it's our anniversary, or it's Easter, or any other special occasions, we have the money available already in that account, and then we just use the money as we go along. My son, who's the older one, he's nearly 15, so he's in high school, so put money aside for his tuition for 2023. The other things is want to save up for a printer, so just have a basic printer. It prints okay on A5, but sometimes it'll get caught, it'll chew it up, so I want to save some money to buy a new printer, so we put some money aside for that, and then we total that. So now the formula that I have here, total income, so we will put that there, minus our total bills, minus the total cash envelopes, minus our sinking funds, minus any savings. We don't have debt. We got out of debt in 2018, so we're just putting money aside for savings. Now, total income minus expenses, minus cash envelopes, minus sinking funds, minus savings or debt payment should equal to zero. Now, if it equals to zero, then that is amazing, because it should never really equal to zero, because your expenses or any events that come up, paycheck to paycheck is going to differ. You might have school photos this week, no school photos next week. You have birthday coming up this week, or an event, or if you haven't put money aside for any sinking funds for insurance, you need to have enough money for that. I've never ever had that all of these in the first go would equal zero. It'll either be, hang on a second, it'll be either negative or it'll be positive. So if it's negative, it means more money needs to come out than you have coming in. So what you need to do in that case is you need to either increase the income coming in so then you can pay for those expenses that haven't been covered. And of course, if you can't do that, if you can't get overtime, if you can't sell anything in time for when bills and expenses and sinking funds and cash envelopes need to be paid, what you need to then do is try and figure out. So let's say if this is your minus $50. So we either need to figure out where can I take $50 out of any of these, or we can go, maybe I can take $10 here, $10 there, $20 here, $10 there, so then that it equals 0. So you need to try and figure out, well, what is my priority? So if you want to pay off debt, you maybe not want to take it out of your debt payment. Maybe if you put some extra money for haircuts, maybe this pay cycle you might not get a haircut until next time. So if you had $50 budgeted for haircuts, maybe that's where the $50 can come from. So it's really important. What is your priority? It's up to you. No one can tell you where you need to take that money from if you can't get any income or inflow coming in. So maybe for me, maybe the budget that I put towards the printer, maybe I won't put any money towards printer for this pay cycle. So I'll take that. So if my budget for the printer was $50, there's the 50 that I need. So then I would update the savings total. So that will be less 50, and then that can equal $0. Now what happens if your equation is plus? That's fantastic. It means you've got more money coming in that you have accounted for. So you now need to name this money, because remember, a zero-based budget means every dollar needs a name. So let's say instead of being negative, it is now positive $50. So where are you going to put this 50? Are you going, I could either, for us, I could put it in, put more money towards Christmas. I could put more money towards our special occasions. For us, we have, one of our savings goal is to put some money towards our home deposit. So this extra fund of $50, I'm going to put here. Well, we know, say it's 50. So now if this is $50 and this is, I'm going to put that extra money towards home deposit. So 50 and 50, they cancel out. Guess what? Every dollar now has a name. To make this a little bit simpler, let's use some props. So hang on a second, let me clean my table. Okay, now I've made some props here. I'm using play money. So then we see it in sort of real action, I guess, rather than just numbers on a piece of paper. So this represents the money that's coming in from my hubby's pay and the family tax benefit. So hubby's pay comes in on a Thursday, and then our family tax benefit comes in on the following Tuesday. So this represents the money that I am budgeting. So I need to make sure that each and every one of this dollar has a name or a purpose. So this is how visually this works. The money comes in, there's income number 1 and inflow number 2. So that is this total. Okay, so that's all of that money. I'm just going to put this aside, get it out of the way. So there's inflow 2, income 1. All right, so the first thing that I need to do is I need to put some money aside for our grocery. First and foremost is your food budget. So whether it's your grocery or if you want to eat out and budget for eating out, that's the first thing. You need to eat. So you need to put some money aside for that, or you need to name it. Here is the name of this money. Hello, I'm grocery money. that is the grocery money, and we normally have an account that's in our debit account that goes into. There we go. Once money comes in, we need to put this amount towards our grocery in our debit account. The next one is our rent. Okay, I am naming this money rent. And we also have a debit account that goes to. Let me see if I can get this. So I'm going to budget this amount of the money coming in for our rent debit account. So we have grocery and rent. That money has now a purpose, a name, or a job. The next bit is I'm going to put some money for our homeschool. So if I need to buy some resources for my son's homeschooling, and we have another debit account. Now I do bank with NAB, National Australia Bank here in Australia. You can open up as many accounts. They have different accounts, normal, everyday, and there's a couple of savings account where there's no minimum amount to be deposited and there's no fees. I think in America, if you check your credit unions, some credit unions will allow you to open up multiple accounts. So it's like your cash envelopes, but in a debit form. $50 for us, homeschool, goes into a homeschool account. Next, we're going to have some petty cash. So if by any chance we run out of money for anything like maybe our grocery, or sometimes hubby will spot a sale on the bag of rice. So if there's a bag of rice, let's say a 10 kilogram bag of rice, and it's half price and we haven't budgeted it. Does that make sense? Budgeted for our grocery money, petty cash helps. So petty cash is like our little cushion. So we put some money aside for that, and that goes into a separate debit account. So the next one, husband gets a little bit of an allowance that goes towards his own bank. He has a separate bank account, so with his own ATM. So then that way, if he wants to buy whatever he wants to buy, we don't have to worry about what's that for, and we can accumulate it. He can save up what he wants to save up. He does have money for his clothing and anything that we budgeted for that's outside of the allowance. So this amount of money is going to go towards hubby's allowance, and then I also get a little bit of allowance. So this money is named Marianne's allowance, and then that goes to a separate account. And then the next one are our cash envelopes. Normally, I put $20 each in our cash envelopes. Here we go. There's our cash envelopes. That's the name of it. And it's going to go towards our cash envelopes. So hopefully this visual is making a little bit more sense. So remember, this is me putting money aside even before it comes in. So then I know now I have money put aside for grocery, for rent, for our homeschool, for our petty cash, husband's allowance, my allowance, cash envelopes, and I still have some money left over. So next, I'm going to put some money for our sinking fund, for our electricity that comes out every quarter. Normally, I think it's around about $500 every quarter. So there are normally 6 pay cycles for us, and if we put around about $100 each, by the time the bill comes out, we'll have enough money in our electricity cash envelope or sinking funds. Okay, so that money is named electricity, and then gas is also a quarterly bill. So I'm going to name this money as gas, and that's going to go to our cash envelope. So you see how I'm putting money aside already, theoretically still. So this is just all theoretical. It hasn't even come in yet, and I'm already assigning jobs for each of them. Next, for our Optus, which is our phone, our internet, my mobile, hubby's mobile, my older son's mobile, plus our internet. It comes on a monthly basis, so we put half of it aside from paycheck number 1 of the month, and then the other half from paycheck number 2, and then that goes into a separate debit account that is marked as our Optus or our phone and internet. We're putting some money aside for our washing machine, so in case it blows up, we've got money ready to go. I have put put some money aside. Now we do dip into our household funds as well from time to time, like tea towels, new towels, the kettle breaks, so we do tap into that, and then we'll just replenish it, enough money for maybe a 5 kilogram washing machine. Household, there is a separate debit account for that, so that's going to go to our debit account once that money comes in. And then, like I said earlier, for medical, I like to have enough money so for a doctor's visit. So there is also a debit account set aside for that. And then we have Christmas, I think we have. That's better. Medical. Christmas. Oh no, savings challenges. I'm doing a $20 Friday savings challenge from the Budget Mom. So I'm putting that, and that has a cash envelope for it. So when we get paid tomorrow and I do a cash envelope video, you'll see how this all comes into fruition cash wise. So there's some money put aside for some savings. Some Christmas money put aside. So I've already got money started saving for that. So we've got plenty of time until November of this year. So if you know a special occasion or an event coming up, the sooner that you save up for it, then you don't have to, then you only put a little bit of money aside. So for Christmas, and that has its own debit account. Let me see what these are for. I can't remember. Special occasions. I think special occasions, I think that's that. And then that goes towards a debit account, specially marked as our special occasions. And then tuition for my son, that has its own debit account. So see how I'm already putting money aside even before it comes in. Then I have, I think for a printer, I have a debit account for that. And then whatever the rest is, so sometimes this could be more, this could be less, will go towards our home deposit. So this is just an average of how much our fortnightly payment will be. So visually, this zero-based budgeting on paper, this is what it looks like. The only debit account that we have that has an actual ATM card is our grocery money. So the only amount of money that's in there is for our groceries. Everything else gets moved into their own debit account. So if we need it, I will move it into this account. Then that way there's a little bit more friction, less likely for me or my husband to spend it because we just think, well, money's in there. No, we have earmarked that money for certain bills, cash envelopes, sinking funds, savings. So we will only use it for that. There's no point having budgeting if you then don't follow it. Put that money aside, so then that way your budget shouldn't be that you can't spend your money. A budget gives you an opportunity or permission to spend your money wisely in a way that meets your financial goals. So of course, if you want to pay off debt, then paying off debt is going to take a lot longer if you spend it on other things. But if you're saving up for certain things, then it's your permission to be able to enjoy life as well as paying off debt or saving money for a home deposit. So all these other debit accounts do not have an ATM associated with it. We need them to spend the money. We will move it to the main account, so then that way there's more friction and less likely for us to spend, because then it sort of stops you on your track. What we used to do was, we had all the money in one account. So here you are thinking, oh, I have all these hundreds of dollars in the account. So you might go, let's spend some more on the grocery. Let's go have a takeaway. When in actual fact, that's not what that money is earmarked for. So I hope this makes sense. The zero-based budget is all the money coming in needs to have a name or a purpose before it gets spent, whether it's for your bills and expenses, for your cash envelopes, for your sinking funds to pay your debt or towards savings, and then total income minus all of these should equal zero. If it's not, if it's negative, you either need to increase money coming in or decrease some of these until it's zero, or if you're lucky enough that it is plus, then put it towards any of your financial goal that is of a high priority. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you. Please, if I don't make sense in anything I said, put a comment below and I will answer, and then hopefully explain it better typing rather than chatting. So again, thank you for sticking around. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, I'd love a subscription, and hit that bell to get notifications of new videos I upload. Thank you, I appreciate you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.